Todd and I spent the beginning of our summer working on the beautiful Kenai River in Alaska, paddling local runs like 6 Mile on Ingram Creek and surfing the Boar Tide on Turnagain Arm. We trained on mostly low-volume creeks in anticipation of our late summer journey throughout Alaska and northern British Columbia. Our goal was to paddle Devil's Canyon to Susitna and as many other big water rivers as possible on our drive south. Another of our goals along the way was to become more familiar with these rivers, and not just through the Whitewater. Historically, there have been numerous threats to these rivers and the communities that thrive off them. Obsessively watching the gauge at Gold Bar on the Susitna River, we anxiously waited for the Sioux to reach a stable flow. Finally, in late July, the Susitna dropped to a perfect level at just over 20,000 CFS. With a weekend off work, we drove north to the town of Talkeetna, Alaska, and met our friends Matt and Santiago and our 2 pilots that would fly us 50 miles into the heart of Alaska wilderness. We packed our boats and gear into 2 Cessna 206 float planes and were blessed by incredible weather and a magnificent view of Denali on the flight in. Landing on an unnamed lake in the middle of nowhere, we unloaded our boats and few supplies, waved goodbye to our pilots, and made our way to the river via hiking and tundra boating.
So we're on our final descent down into the Big Sioux. We landed in a lake over there, walked over through some marshiness, and now we're down here, beautiful sunny day. Denali in the background, getting ready to run some shit. It's gonna be sweet.
We're about to do some tundra kayaking, a little warm up.
Day 1 was packed with incredible whitewater and one of the most remote rivers I had ever paddled. We made camp between the first and second canyons, enjoying incredible weather and fresh caught salmon.
Just cooked up some good old-fashioned macaroni and cheese, but we got a special edition, a little bit of fresh caught Kenai River salmon that Todd and I caught the other night.
rapid on Big Sioux. Everyone just fired it up, styled it, no carnage whatsoever. It's been a really good day.
Yeah. What do we got to do now?
We have some more boogie water, and then we got to paddle 40 miles to the town of Talkeetna.
Yeah.
After exiting the last canyon, we noticed dozens of jet boats and a few helicopters navigating the lower reaches of the Susitna as we paddled over 30 miles of flat water back towards Talkeetna. Before our trip, we had heard that there was a team of people doing an environmental assessment on the Susitna watershed as part of the state of Alaska's Susitna-Watana Hydro Project. Talking to several of these groups along the way, we learned that some of the jet boats were guided tours, but most of them, including the fish biologists we caught a ride with, were researchers studying everything from cottonwood seed dispersal to fish migration patterns and water temperature in the Susitna watershed. After our trip through Devil's Canyon, we were fortunate enough to speak with Rick Leo, a founder of the Susitna River Coalition, to learn more about the Susitna-Watana Hydro Project.
The mission of the Coalition for Susitna Dam Alternatives is to stop the dam. The name Alternatives implies that we would like to maintain the electrical supply that serves the majority of the population of Alaska, and it doesn't seem very difficult to do that. So we're not saying no only, we're saying no dam, and here's how we can keep the lights on, here's how we can keep the heaters in Alaska in the wintertime functioning. Here's how we can continue to explore the necessity of renewable energy in the world. 24 states in America don't consider large hydro to be renewable. Certainly in an example like this, even if the water is renewable coming into the turbines to generate electricity, even that's suspect because it's all glacial fed, and the glaciers are certainly in the process of receding. The renewability of the salmon and the caribou and the migratory bird habitat, the wetlands, the forest, none of that is renewable. If you devastate it, it's gone. There is increasing push to invest in what will be the long-term future, not the short-term future. Even a dam that lasts 50 or 75 years producing electricity is short-term. If you invest in long-term renewable future, you're maintaining many generations capacity for a full life. Hunters, fishermen, business owners, conservation groups, many different types of organizations and people are part of it. The idea is to show that every interest group is in fact affected by a dam like this. Most people, even in Alaska, don't know that this dam is happening so quickly. It's been in process for 2 years now. It received $65 million in funding its first year, $95 million in funding its second year from the state of Alaska legislature. It's on the cusp now of becoming a national issue. And when it does, as people know about it, that's the primary mission, because most people, when they find out, say, no, it's a bad idea. It serves very little purpose. And the risks, problems, impacts, and costs are just too great.